This is 𝗩𝗂 in Chicago, and you're watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, as I promised last week that I'll be doing a special vlog today, and today is World Vitamin D Day. It's just a coincidence that, the World Vitamin D Day has been picked November 2nd, and which is also my birthday. And I want to dedicate today's vlog, particularly on how to customize one's vitamin D dose, which I actually did. So this vlog is actually my footprint of what I did back in 2016. Before I do that, I want to emphasize few things here. Mostly vitamin D is misunderstood because it's not a vitamin, it's a steroid hormone. And I have explained enough in my earlier vlogs that this potent, very, very potent steroid hormone is basic necessity of our life for sustaining a good, healthy life. So all the healthy lifestyles which we've been talking about or which you have been hearing about in the media and in the literature, those are all great things. But the basic premise is to fix one's vitamin D status at the blood serum level. And I have done few vlogs earlier. If you haven't seen it, please, I would request you to watch those on individual topics, that how vitamin D is very, very potent for us, because the way nature has wired us, that each and every cell in our body is directly linked with VDR, which we call vitamin D receptors, and those cells crave for vitamin D for the proper functionality of the whole system, how it works. So, and remember that there are two types of immunity which we can attain. One is innate immunity, which is the natural immunity which we define in the health literature, and one is adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity is time-bound. Time-bound means you get some kind of a vaccine, and that germ is injected in you, so that you create antibodies, and it gives you adaptive immunity for certain time, and it wanes off over time. But innate immunity is just like natural building our own immunity, the way nature has designed us or wired us, so that we have a defensive mechanism always intact. Okay, so this basically vitamin D, which is a steroid hormone, it gives us that innate immunity. That's why it's also called in medical literature as immune modulator steroid hormone. So let me share my screen, and I wanted to show you this screen so that you understand that how the variability is involved, because there is no two person which are identical. And what you are seeing here is a typical vitamin D response curve. Now, this is coming from grassroothealth.net. I'm going to be including the detailed paper in my description. So, you have everything, your notes and your research material, where it's coming from. So what you are seeing here is on the x-axis, various dosages of vitamin D intake per day. And at the y-axis, you see the blood serum level. Now, they have done this study, results of 7,324 people, 18 years and older. So you see this thing that we've been saying in the previous vlog, that vitamin D is, experts are recommending, the researchers are recommending between 40 to 60 range. I personally like around 60. To be honest with you, I like at the therapeutic level between 60 and 80. 80 is my hardcore target, because there are different diseases which requires certain minimum. And neuro diseases, just like MS, multiple sclerosis, requires a lot more, around 80 nanograms so per milliliter. So there's a huge variability, and I want you to keep in mind that each and everything matters. Now here, what you see, this green bandwidth is highlighted in 40 to 60, and for each unit, each 1,000 unit, each 2,000 unit, and so on, people have been responding differently. So what you see here, the highest recorded for 1,000 IU of supplement was close to about 165 or so nanograms per milliliter, and the lowest was around 8 or 10 nanograms. So, and you see these brown dots in between, everybody responded. These individual dots is response of an individual. So there's a huge variability for even 1,000 units, 1,000 IU. And if you look at the 4,000 IU, here as it says that example intake of 4,000 IU per day, somebody responded at lowest net 10 nanograms per milliliter, and someone responded to 150 nanograms per milliliter. So if I were to say that 4,000 is good for everyone, that's not true. That's not true at all, because you need, some people may need a lot less than 4,000 to get to the target between these green bandwidth, or some people may need a lot more than 4,000. They will not reach it. So basically, you see this variability. And when I looked at it, this variability, I questioned myself that, how I can calibrate based on my own response curve, right? So this is a typical response curve, which you see in blue dotted line, okay? So I wanted to share with you this basic response curve, and then you can see your own response, which we will see in the last slide. So this is a typical response for majority of the people. Now let's move to the next slide, and then you have basically all the cofactors which we've been talking about, right? So if you have a magnesium along with your D, you will get additional response. So if you read this curve that, this 40 to 60, the green band, and if somebody blue is with 400 milligram of supplement of magnesium per day, and red is with no magnesium supplement at all, you would need, more vitamin D to supplement with to reach the same 40 nanograms per milliliter as compared to somebody who's taking vitamin D and supplementing with magnesium. So basically, you would need less than 1,000 to reach at 40, so that you can make that 40 level, because you are supplementing. So basically, what I'm trying to give you an idea here, that this curve shows that if you have a cofactor of magnesium along with the D, then you would get kick a little bit upward response in your absorption rate. So the previous curve which I showed you is just without any cofactor, just a simple vitamin D supplement. But we know that from research that a lot of cofactors work in synthesizing this vitamin D absorption, because the body works in a holistic manner. It's not in isolation. So you would see here that 146% more D is available for 50% or more population with 400 milligram of magnesium. So next curve is same with the vitamin K2. I'm going to be including, these curves are coming from that paper, so that paper is included in the description, so you don't have to worry about. You can take your time and digest it over the course of time. Same thing, if you take K2, then you would get an additional kick in the response. And then you take B6, vitamin B6, then you would get another kick. Then you have a B12, another kick. So these are individual studies. Vitamin C will give you another absorption factor. Then you will take calcium, you would get another, response curve. Little bit better response curve for your vitamin D absorption if you are taking calcium. Now, if you're taking with probiotic, means you are taking some kind of a bacterian culture fermented food like yogurt or natto or kefir or kimchi or sauerkraut. These are all probiotics, and then you will get another kick for your response on D absorption. again, I spoke in the past that, if you take without any meal or small meal, your D is not going to get absorbed as you would get D absorbed in your lower gut after with the largest meal of the day. So, you always, because mostly your doctor is not going to tell you how to consume D. Basically, this is what, I have experienced. They will tell you that take D, that's about it. Some people have been taking D, just pop the pill, and they don't eat breakfast. They just take it in the morning, and then the response is not there. They don't get hike in their vitamin D level when they get tested, and they think that whatever they are taking, it's not adequate enough, and they keep loading the dose. Some people I've heard that they are taking 10,000, they are taking 15,000, they are taking 20,000. And that's insane to me that, if you're not doing your due diligence, taking it properly the way you are supposed to take, then you are not going to get a response curve in your increase in your serum level. And you think that, you are not taking adequate. So make sure that, if you can make that level for less amount of vitamin D intake, why would you need more? Okay. So that's why I created this customized dose supplement, that calculation. Now, I want to mention one thing very clear here, that all these response curve I showed you for magnesium, for K2, for vitamin B6, vitamin B12, calcium, vitamin C, I don't mean to say that you should gobble all these supplements. Okay. Main idea was that have a variety of meal in your diet, that you get these potent nutrient through your diet. For instance, if you are taking greens, like kale, a lot of food items are ample with calcium, you don't need any supplement. I don't supplement calcium. I don't recommend my wife any supplement for calcium. So, there are only need supplements when you don't have ample amount present in the food. Just like D, you don't have anywhere in the food item. The only way you can make D is through sunlight. Okay. And if people like me who are living in Chicago, if we are living in the, above the Atlanta, Georgia, anywhere in north above the Atlanta, Georgia, we don't make anything in the winter. Because, even though we have a sunlight, but the latitude is such that we are not going to make any vitamin D because, there is not enough solar UVB radiation. So in summer, yes, we could. But if somebody is Miami or Florida or in Texas, they can make year round. So, and 30 minutes good exposure to sunlight with your skin exposed is a good exposure. The lighter the skin, shorter the exposure time. The darker the skin, the exposure time could be higher. Like brown skin like me or African American folks, they need maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So variability plays a big role in skin pigmentation against the skin pigmentation. So let's go to the customizing the dose. So this is basically my calculations, which I did on my own, and then I customized similarly my family members' response curve. So what I did here, I'm going to explain you my base level in 2015 when I detected that I am deficient was 20 nanograms per milliliter. Okay. And my doctor told me that, Nadir, you can take 600 IU in multivitamin. That should be good enough. By that time, I have read enough that, I thought that, my doctor is joking because, the RDA requirement required daily allowance of 600 IU is just like spitting in an ocean because, that's not how nature has wired us. If we go in sunlight, we make anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 IU, with the help of sun. That's how the nature wired us because that's how the body's demand is, because remember that, there is a reason why we have a cholesterol in our body. The cholesterol, which is 7-hydroxy, gets in touch with UVB radiations through the sunlight, gets converted, that 7-hydroxy to 25-hydroxy, which is inactive form of vitamin D. Then it goes through the liver, then liver activates it, becomes active form of vitamin D. Then it goes to the kidney, kidney spits out, and then it becomes the hormone, which we call calcitriol. And that hormone provides the raw material to the entire cellular system through VDR. Remember that. This is the mechanism in nutshell I explained you. So I realized by that time that, that 600 is not going to be enough. So I started taking 2000 IU, vitamin D3. Remember that D3 is more potent, 3 times more potent than D2. D3 is animal source base, D2 is a plant base. And I have mentioned in my previous vlogs the difference between these two. So I started taking 2000 IU for 12 weeks, which is about 3 months. And then I got tested again. Okay. Because, what happens that in 3 months, about 12 weeks, the dose which you are taking, it gets plateau. Beyond that, it won't go up. So whatever it can reach maximum with that dose, it will plateau and, it will go flatten out your curve. So I got retested again. So I got 44 nanograms per milliliter. So I did basic calculation that how much I jumped, how much I gained actually from 20 to 44. So I took the difference, 44 minus 20, 24 nanograms. This is how I gained. This is how much I gained. So basically my target desired level was 60 nanograms per milliliter. And I said that, for each 100 IU, my body responded, how much my body responded. So I took the gain divided by 20, because why I use 20? Because, I'm using 2000 unit and I'm calculating for 100 IU. So for each 100 IU, how much my body responded in gaining the vitamin D in my blood serum. So 24 divided by 20 is 1.2 nanograms per milliliter. So basically what I'm saying here, that for each 100 IU, my body responded in increasing my vitamin D at the serum level, at the blood level, by 1.2 nanograms per milliliter. So I'm applying the unitary method in mathematics. So for each 1 IU, my body would respond to 1.2 divided by 100. And for 5,000, let's say I figured it out that, if I were to take 5,000 IU, my body would respond to 1.2 divided by 100 times 5,000. So I got 60 nanograms. So I said that, okay, 5,000 IU is my customized dose. If I do 5,000, I'll be okay. So I started doing 5,000 again till 12 weeks. I got retested again and I got 64. So it means that, I was targeting for 60 and I received my result as 64. Now, I was not doing all these additional cofactors at that time. The only cofactor I was using, here and there is vitamin K2, because I realized that, D should not be supplemented. I have enough read materials and research by that time in 2016 that D should not be supplemented without K2. And mostly doctors nowadays, if they are even recommending D, no one is mentioning K2, because a lot of doctors have been hearing that, they have no clue about vitamin K2, and sometimes they mix match with vitamin K1, and these are two totally different animals. K1 is totally different than K2. So then over the years, I have included all these response, curves, which I have shown you a while back, that, how additional absorption one would get. So I included vitamin K2, I included my magnesium water, I included my vitamin C, I included my vitamin Bs, complex vitamin Bs. I use my probiotic through yogurt. And for vitamin Bs, I consume chicken liver, organic chicken liver. For C, I have plenty of green veggies, and 𝗪𝗪𝗪 powder, which is a fruit which is potent in vitamin C as well. And then I make my own magnesium water, and K2 I supplement and I consume in the form of natto as well. And I take my D with my dinner, which is the largest meal of the day. And due to all these factors over the years, I'm standing in 2024 at 82 nanograms per milliliter. Now, I was targeting for 60. I'm happy with 82 because I'm at therapeutic level. This is this is the best level I'm happy with, and since 2016, I can tell you one thing, that I have never taken any antibiotic, because I used to get 3 or 4 infections a year because of my tonsils and strep and all that, and I was sick and tired of taking antibiotics. And since I fixed my D at this level, I'm truly blessed. I couldn't thank enough of this potent hormone, that it changed my health dynamics completely. And not only myself, but my family members are very happy with what are they doing, with their overall health. So one would question this thing, there's always a threat, or people scare, by the medical community, that, oh, you are taking too much vitamin D, and you're going to get hypercalcemia, or you're going to get toxic. Now, this is completely nonsense. There is no science behind it. The only time one would get toxic is if your calcium at the blood serum level would increase. And mostly doctors are not allowing or not recommending to take K2 with it, because K2, what it does, that whatever the calcium magnifies because of the deabsorption, it channelizes your calcium by activating the proteins in our blood, which is matrix 𝗂 protein and osteocalcine, which I have mentioned in my previous vlogs, to take those excess calcium to the bones. So in my case, my doctor was surprised that when my D level was 20 nanograms in 2015, and at that time my calcium serum level in the blood was 9.6 milligram per deciliter. But when my D level jumped to 82, it almost 4 times, common sense tells us that my calcium serum should increase tremendously and throw me outside the range, which is I believe 10.5 or something, the upper threshold. But on the contrary, it dropped, and my doctor could not understand this thing. And I told him that this is because of the K2, and I take ample K2, as I mentioned, close to 800 micrograms a day. Because I take 500 micrograms along with my 300 micrograms in 2 tablespoons of natto. So it dropped my calcium by 4/10 of a point, which is great. So there's no toxicity concept here. There's nothing. Yes, one would be probably getting toxic because they are taking without knowing that how their body would respond. You saw that response curve in the first chart I showed you, that some people would make a lot more. They may cross 200 nanograms per milliliter, or 240, because you need to know with a small dose that how your body is responding. Now, there are other factors which will inhibit, which will restrict one's absorption. It could be underlying conditions, some medications, some drugs, prescriptions which you are taking, like statin drug or blood pressure medication. Then you need to talk to your doctor, because if you are not increasing your level, and if you keep popping more vitamin D, because assuming that you are not taking enough, that's not right. So you need to work with your doctor. And I would say that if somebody is not getting well absorbed in their lower gut, and that it's not showing in the serum level, you need to see your endo doctor, endocrinologist, who are very well versed specialists in the system at the core, that what it's causing. It could be your liver, it could be your bile, it could be your gallbladder, because D is a fat soluble vitamin, and one would need bile to get it absorbed. So maybe your if somebody has gallbladder removed, then they are not making bile. Of course, you are not going to get deabsorbed. It could be your liver. It could be many things. It could be some drug which you are taking, which has an anti-effect with your vitamin D absorption. So let me stop share here. And honestly, if somebody wants to fix their health, and take care of your health as yourself as you in charge, and create a partnership with your doctor. Make sure that you fix your D first. This is the foremost thing I would recommend, I would say, based on my personal experience and best practices. If you have any questions related to it, please share your thoughts in the comment section. Pose the question. I'll try to respond as much as I can. I respond everything. If I miss sometimes, please remind me, and I will see you next time with another vlog. Until then, see you.